Propane is a really useful fuel source for RVers. So today I have a few tips and some tools that go along with propane to help you out and to add a layer of safety. How's it going? I'm Jared Gillis. Welcome to another All About RVs. Today I want to share with you guys a product that is so simple to install. It gives you a level of functionality and a level of safety. It's one of these things that it's really kind of a no-brainer to put on all RVs. So this is the gas stop. Here's why I like it. Number one, it gives you the ability to have your propane get shut down in the RV automatically. If a line was to get severed or ruptured, it shuts it down 100%. If you have a problem in your propane system and you have a catastrophic leak happening, this will shut it down completely. The other function you can get out of this unit is it has a gauge on top. So you can use this to try and help you find leaks inside of the RV, to see if you have a leak inside your propane system. So it's kind of a rudimentary way of doing it, but the way you would do that is you turn off the propane tank so you're not repressurizing the system, and then you can watch that gauge. If that gauge goes down and you lose pressure and you don't have anything running propane, all the pilot lights are off and everything, then you know that you have a leak somewhere, and then you can try and find that leak and to be able to repair it. The first thing you do if you think you smell propane inside the RV is you need to turn the propane tank off, turn off the source of the propane. So you're already going to be checking for a leak if you think you smell propane. Turn off the source and look at the gauge. The reason I say it's a rudimentary way to do it is because usually if you're going to be checking for a leak in the propane system, you have a high pressure side and a low pressure side. So you would usually want to check the low pressure side with a gauge that is measuring it in water column, and you can bring that pressure down so that way you can find any small leak quickly. But this is going to help you find a leak. So if we're testing the tank on the driver's side of the RV for us, it's really fast to be able to find that leak because we don't have that much hose between the propane tank and the pressure regulator. That's the high pressure side of the propane system. Now, if we're going from the passenger side of the RV, we have a long hose that goes from the propane tank all the way to the pressure regulator. And that just takes longer for that pressure to come down and to be able to see it on that gauge, because basically we're waiting for that high pressure line that's going all the way across that has that built up into it in order to go down. So it might take longer to do it this way, but it will show you if you have a leak in your propane system if you give it some time. So while it'd be nice if all RVers carried around a gauge to be able to read the water column, I think it's much more practical to think that somebody's going to buy a gas stop device that's going to help you with safety and give you this function of being able to look for leaks inside of the propane system. You're kind of getting a 2-for-1 out of one unit. Now, there are other cheaper options out there for being able to put a gauge on your propane cylinder to help you look for that leak, but they're not going to shut off the propane if you have a catastrophic event. That's what the difference would be there. But there are other safety devices built into your propane system to help slow down that flow of propane if you have a rupture in the line or a catastrophic event. It's just not going to shut it off like the gas stop does, but you can get a gauge to put on there to find other leaks. Now, if you do find a leak inside of your RV, a great way to be able to find it is I just use this little, this is called an easy gas check or a propane sniffer, something where you can use this, turn it on, and it's going to give you an alert if there's propane in that area. So once you turn the system back on, you can use this to find where that propane is leaking from. We'll pull out the Blackstone griddle that's connected to the RV real quick so I can show you what it's like to use that propane sniffer. So we just turn this on. Now we know it's ready to go. We can turn on the propane. It didn't light. Well, there we go. It's that easy to use. You turn it on and it alerts you when there's propane. But this is something that's just really easy to keep on hand. Keep it in your toolbox. So if you smell propane, this is going to make short work of it. Test it, check it, fix it, and you can move back onto your way safely. I'd probably add another test at the end. If you fix something, you always want to test it. Propane's really not something to be afraid of. I know some people don't use propane in their RV because they're afraid of it, but propane really isn't that dangerous. Just like you would have breakers and safety devices on electrical, having a gas stop and making sure that things are shut off properly and not having any leaks is just a level of safety inside of your RV so that you can use it well. And really, these things are ridiculously simple to install. There's two different kinds. There's one that if you have a drivable RV like a Class A or a Class C and you have a mounted tank on there, they do have a gas stop available for that. But for these that are on the portable tanks, it's as easy as disconnecting your line from the propane tank, threading this onto the tank, and then threading your hose onto the gas stop. You have to press that gauge down a few times to get it to pressurize. That's the mechanical stopping device in there. So you have to basically prime it up. That allows the gas to flow. And if there's any problem, that's the device right in there that's going to shut the gas down. So if we had our hose on there and it wasn't fully seated on that high pressure side, you can see that gas leaves and it instantly shuts it down. Now, we just bought these off of Amazon. We bought two because we have two tanks. You need one for each tank. So however many tanks you have, you would need one for each tank that you're plugging into your regulator. So with these few things like the propane sniffer and the gas stop, it allows us to get to any problem in the RV with the propane system and be able to solve it quick. That's the point of why we have these things on hand. So I think that's gonna do it for today. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you wanna see more videos about RVing, hit that subscribe button. And if we don't see you on the road, hopefully we will. See you next video.